Hey friends, it is February, which means it's time for our January reading wrap up. So let's get started. I did a reread of Iron Flame and Onyx Storm because I couldn't really remember anything from Iron Flame, and I decided at the very last minute that why not? So I read Fourth Wing and I remembered everything. I didn't need to reread it. It was good. Yeah, I reread Iron Flame. The first time I read it, I gave it 3 stars. This time I gave it 4 stars. I don't really know what changed, but I liked it a lot better this time. It's still like watching a CW show for me, and I just love that. Okay? I read a lot of epic literature. Sometimes I just want to have fun. And then I read Onyx Storm, because of course I did. First of all, I didn't want it spoiled for me, and second of all, FOMO was real, and I had to know. And I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It's just sitting at a 4-star series for me. I will definitely continue because why wouldn't I? I'm still gonna have FOMO when the next one comes out. I'm curious, and it's just a good time. So accidentally consuming pretty much my entire January with the Empyrean series. I also managed to read one of the books on my required reading for 2025. So part of the plan is I have 25 books that I absolutely have to read by the end of the year, and this is the first one I read. And I don't know why I waited so long. I loved this book. I really enjoyed Ninth House. I honestly don't know why it took me so long to pick this up. It was a good time. Now for the books that I read on my Kindle. I read Lies on the Serpent's Tongue by Kate Parsall. It is book 2 in the Bittersweet and the Hollow series, and I absolutely loved it. I read it as an ARC, and I love this series, and I cannot wait for the next book to come out. I'm pretty sure I've made a video about it already if you want to look back if you want my full review, but it was a good time. I really like it. Another ARC I read was The Empress by Kristen Cast, and it was fine. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars, and I will probably not be reading more by this author just because it's not for me, and that's fine. Yet another ARC I read, Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fato. All I can say is WTF did I just read is pretty much my thoughts throughout the whole book. It is wild. It is graphic, it is gory. There are some triggers, you should definitely look into them before you read it, but what the fuck? Honestly, y'all, oh my god. I loved it. I read an ARC of Swallowed by Meg Smitherman. It's another sci-fi horror romance, and I really, really liked Thrum. That was one of my favorite books last year. This one was not quite as compelling to me, but it was still so, I don't even know how to describe it. The plant life is erotic and wants to consume you, and it is a planet because Earth is dying and they're trying to see if we can go live here, and then yeah, just check it out for yourself. Honestly, you'll probably enjoy it. I did. Then I read Daughter of Winter by Karina Douglas. It is book 1 in the Daughter of Winter series. It's on KU, and I saw the author on Instagram and I was like, ooh, Celtic deities and all the different mythologies. It looked really interesting. I was wanting a little bit more at the end, but I feel like everything I wanted from the first book is definitely coming, because the first book is basically getting the character to the location where the rest of the books are going to take place. I started book 2 last night, and I'm 25% in, and I'm enjoying it so far. We're getting a lot more of the mythological creatures point of views, and it's a good time. Now for the books that I listened to on audio. My very first book of the year was Breath of the Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. It was actually my first Fonda Lee book, which I know, I need to read Jade City, okay? But it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next one. I think it's just a duology. I've heard trilogy too, but I know it's definitely gonna have at least another book. And if you have any interest whatsoever in martial arts fighting. The technical writing about it was so intriguing. Then I read an arc of The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt on audio, and I thought this was gonna be more of like a whimsical story, and it was definitely more like a traumatic story, but I still really enjoyed it. Another arc I read on audio of Mountains and Seas by Emily Rink Hawthorne. This was really interesting. I think I would have liked it more if I'd read like the physical copy, because I had a hard time tracking whose point of view we were in, because it was multi-POV over multiple different tie lines, and like everyone was kind of linked, but I just kept getting confused and I'd have to like rewind. So I'm like, wait, who is this again? And that is a fully me problem, not the book problem. But it's really interesting. Chinese mythology. There are shifters who like have their own underground government, and it is a good time. Definitely check it out. And this cover is beautiful. For my smutty book club this month, we read Lights Out by Nafisa Allen, and it is what it is. I liked it. It was fun. Not my genre, not my typical genre, but you know, it's fun to branch out sometimes. For my in-person book club, we read Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I listened to this one on audio as well, and I had a really hard time, again, differentiating which character, because there were so many POVs that like would change in the middle of a paragraph, or like in the middle of a, I don't know. It just like, I'd be like, wait, Mom, but no, like, yeah, it threw me off. I think we all had this issue, so it wasn't just me this time, but it did not take enough away from the story for me not to enjoy it. I just needed to like really pay attention. And honestly, as we got into it, like after like the 5th chapter, I really didn't have that hard of a time, because the characters were so distinct that you could tell whose point of view you were in. It would just be a little like, sometimes you'd be like, oh yeah, we switched back there. But definitely interesting Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I think it was like a 4.5 for my book club as a whole. I gave it 4 stars. So that's all the books that I read in January. What's the favorite book that you read last month?